Poaching, what is it? It's like being in a fancy restaurant, isn't it? Hi there. I actually got like an X lead here. I got one going that way and one going this way. So I think I'll actually put out 2 snares. Now I always like to take my snare and wrap it around like a spruce tree or something. Give it a few swings back and forth like that. Takes any human scent that might be on that snare. It also straightens out your snare wire. This is going to be a bit of a hanging snare. Don't want the rabbit to feel like you gotta go too far and under a stick. I'm just going to let it kind of hang down like that a bit. Go around the tree twice and make sure it's nice and secure. This wire is still legal where I am. A couple of guiding sticks. Call this one a chin up stick. Put a little stick there just so that when the rabbit comes by you can see it, and he'll just kind of put his chin up, kind of get him right into the snare. On to the next one. Oh boy, she's a dandy. Watch out now. You smells the rabbit, do you? I'll mess up my lead, these little rascals. There's another one there, and what do I hear? Oh no, the warden's coming! Gotcha! You guys that follow my channel know this is where I had my hot tent for about 2 months, 2.5 months. And I just hauled it out of it last weekend because I built that ice house, and that took up a bit of time there. And now the fishing season's open, so I'm going to use that fishing tent for fishing and staying around the lake and all sorts of places with the stove going. So stay tuned for those videos. Dump here somewhere. Now guys, I've been wanting to share this piece of deliciousness with you guys for a while. Nothing to do with sponsorships or anything like that, but this kind of stuff just So you guys know that I'm a sucker for kerosene lamps and stuff. This is a kerosene camping cooker stove. How cool is that? Kerosene goes in the back here. Open up that switch there, flips back like that. Take your match and start it up just like you would a regular kerosene lamp. Look at that. I mean, how cool. Dripping with coolness. Hi there. I had this going in the cabin last night for a while. Just looking at it and the light coming off of it. But today I'm going to cook my lunch onto it when I do my talk. Now guys, you can take your fast cars and your fast skidoos and all of that materialistic stuff that just makes everything look so shiny and wonderful. For me, it's stuff like this. This is where I'm drawn in. I'm excited over something like that. I got this for my ice house. I'm actually going to spend a night in that tonight. But when I got it and took it out yesterday and used it, and today, like, it's a perfect day to be out and doing this kind of stuff, I couldn't wait, basically, like a kid. They're supposed to be able to burn like that for like 5 hours. All right, as a disclaimer right off the bat here, nothing I say here today has any reflection whatsoever with my career, job as a conservation officer, or my employer being the provincial government of Newfoundland and Labrador. Absolutely zero connection. So that's out of the way. It's just plain old Chuck Porter sitting down by a little fire and the coolest little object. Well, a lot of you guys have asked me to talk about this, and of course, pretty much everything that you guys suggest to me is a bit touchy sometimes. And it is, of course, related because I have been a conservation officer for like over 30 years. Dealt with this a lot, unfortunately. Poaching, what is it? Some people think that if you break any fish or game law, it's poaching. It's not. There's lots of safety rules and stuff there. Poaching is actually when you take fish or game illegally. You take it out of the population without it being accounted for. You have no license, no permit, no permission. It's out of season, or all of the above. And what does that do? The effects of it are very far-reaching. And hopefully, like I've done many talks in the past, this will educate people to realize that it's not cool. Because there is a side of that I'll talk about in a second where it's kind of regarded as cool to poach. Got some ptarmigan breasts here. What are you guys waiting for? Yes, Ashley, I'm putting on some mozzarella steak spice, my favorite spice on wild game. Check out Ashley Hand's channel, Adventures Off Grid. Now, what happens when you take fish or game out of the population without it being accounted for? Well, I like to break it down in the most basic level right off the bat. We're all human beings, and we try our best to calculate, predetermine, estimate on what any fish or game population is. And how do you do it? You can't go around and count every ptarmigan in the woods, or every rabbit in the woods, or every moose for that matter. We're living on Crown land, and the land is extremely vast here. It's impossible. The animals are not caged in or kept in a fishbowl. So you do your best, right? And those techniques have been fine-tuned over the years, really good. But of course, there's, you know, lots of those limits and seasons and all that kind of stuff is set out in the spring, and you might not be able to harvest it to the fall. There's all kinds of environmental factors come into play. But one thing we can control is poaching. You don't have to do it. Now again, you know, you're getting someone's shed or wherever people are talking, they say, don't worry about it, boy, it's only a few extra birds, a few extra rabbits, lots of moose here and there. Well, if you extrapolate and put that on a larger scale, then it makes a huge difference. I said there's techniques to try and estimate the populations, fish and game or whatever. And you know, those are determined by a whole bunch of factors. I won't get into them all, but it could be license sales, license returns, what people are seeing, census work. Everything there is quite visible. But poaching is usually not visible, right? Most of it anyway. It's done under the cover of darkness. Or it's done in a remote area where someone may not be patrolling or there's no eyes watching. So let's just say, for a simple example, we say, okay, we should be, on our best estimate is that we can take 100 moose out of this area. Then the poachers go out and take 20 of those on the sly. Well, you got 20% of your count that should have been taken by legitimate hunters gone already. Or you take the limits on fish or the season on fish, and then someone puts a net out and catches what some people may not catch in 5 years. They may catch it in one night in a net. And certain populations are unbelievably fickle. I see it especially in the smaller brooks. I fish a lot of smaller brooks, and I don't tell anybody where I'm fishing in those brooks, because I've seen where I could see one person found that little brook where I was fishing, and they overfished it. And that one little brook is now no good for fishing at all. It's gone. Just by what I estimate to be one extra person fishing in that brook. So why do people poach? Take out the 0.5% of the people who are actually starving and need the animal. I'm not even going to talk about that here today. It's not even worth going into this equation. Unfortunately, The major reason why people poach is to achieve money. And they achieve money for whatever reasons. And again, most times it's for the wrong reasons. It may be feeding some habit they have. And the list is endless. But the majority of the reasons are for reasons that are no good. So we've all heard the cliche, seen it on posters and advertisements, poaching is stealing. Well, it is. But who's it stealing from, really? It's stealing from me. It's stealing from you. And they're actually stealing from themselves. Here it comes to this cool factor. Oh my, what? You poached a moose? Oh man, you're so cool. How did you manage to do that at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Whatever. For some reason, there is an element of coolness that is portrayed sometimes. But I have to snicker at that because really the person who is being played the fool here is the guy who's laughing. Because it's the same as if the poacher reached behind his back, took his wallet out, took all of his money out, put his wallet back and put it in his pocket, and just told the guy that he stole some money. And the guy said, oh, you just stole some money. How much did you get? Oh, I got $100. Took it from you. I love to hunt fish and game. My family was raised on fish and game. We don't waste any meat. It's the most organic, natural source of food and protein that you can get. You think about all the organic foods you buy, you can't get any more organic or natural than if it's harvested in nature. It was raised by nature in nature. There should be a stamp on that. Besides the actual eating part, my family and I have spent the most valuable times together while we've been hunting and fishing, or with my friends. There's just something about spending a day out in the woods, having exercise, harvesting animal, whether you get it or not. You're out hunting and you're fishing with someone you enjoy being with. And the poacher is taking that away from me and you. Lots of control with this little cooking stove. Oh, look at that, look. Oh. You know it's about minus 10 degrees Celsius out today? I like to think if you educate people, it's better than actually going out and catching someone poaching, and then of course the ramifications of that are severe. You lose ridiculous amounts of money. Your hunting rights are lost for years on end. You lose your equipment that you're using. I mean, besides all that, what I'm talking about today is actually messing with the populations big time and raping the resource. I've heard it said countless times too, oh, don't worry about it, the government puts in allowances for poaching. How can you put in allowances for something that, again, you have no account for? So that's a myth. Poaching is just hurting it all the way around. There was an article someone wrote in the Gander newspaper. I don't know who the author was. Maybe one of you guys might remember. It was about 35 years ago. My father was actually a wildlife officer as well. And he gave me the article to read, and he took it out of the newspaper and put it up on the wall of his office because it made so much sense. It was really well written, and it was entitled, One Shot, 2 Moose, 3 Licenses. 1 shot, 2 moose, 3 licenses. And until you read it, you had no idea what it meant, but it talks about the poacher who went out of season and shot 1 bullet at a female moose, and that female moose was pregnant. So that's 2 moose. And the way licensing works, without getting too technical here, is for every 2 moose in the population that can be safely taken, there's usually 3 licenses issued, because normally only 2 out of 3 people actually are successful in harvesting their moose. So that poacher went out and shot that 1 bullet. He killed those 2 moose, and he robbed 3 licenses from someone who may have really, really needed that. Absolutely 0 respect for anybody, including himself. I'll put this ptarmigan inside now because the doggies can't have any onions, which I'm going to put on next. Oh boy, this smells absolutely spectacular-osa. Another Chuck Porter word. Oh, look at a little niblet there, look. Just a forecast. Now I could turn this grill over. Right now, that's the kind of the grilling lines on that side. And I can't turn it over right now. I should have showed you before, but that's actually flat on the other side. I don't know if you can see it there or not. that's fine. I'll just put my onions right on there. Now guys, I will put a code in the video description where you can order one of these if you want, and you'll get a discount. Here, I'll give you guys the first taste. Here. There you go. Don't touch the rest. You can actually take those glasses out and clean them. So guys, that's a scoop on poaching. I hope maybe somebody can understand it better, how uncool it is. All I'd like to see, and I'm sure you guys would like to see, is that our fish and wildlife resources are maintained the best they can be, so they're there for today and tomorrow, for our children and their grandchildren, and so we can continue on with these wonderful, wonderful healthy practices we've been involved with here. And speaking of, I'm going to have a quick bite to eat here, and I'm going to continue on with my rabbit line. And if the warden comes along, I'll be perfectly legal. It's like being in a fancy restaurant, isn't it? Oh my. Now this is what it's all about, right there.
Everything better inside. Everything's better.
Well guys, we're going to head on down the rabbit trail, head on back to the cabin, and spend the night in the ice house. That'll be the next video. And until the next video, take care of each other, get outside and enjoy everything outdoors. We'll see you next time. Guaranteed.
Get outside and enjoy everything outdoors. Get outside.